Hello, I'm Nagaramani and I'm a doctorate in physics from IIT Madras. And I have been US. I'm really thankful to the Tutors Pride for providing me this opportunity to interact through online classes like this in the award of ITAT Awards. And I have been teaching physics for BTech students for more than a decade. And And as of now, I'm working with the Gudlavalleru Engineering College, Gudlavalleru, Andhra Pradesh. The reason for choosing this profession is that it gives me an immense pleasure in interacting with the fresh minds. We keep sharing some ideas. Of course, most of the times, as the first year, we will be doing the first year students. So most of the times, we will be providing them the necessary guidance. But it is really very refreshing to interact with these fresh minds. Okay, now today or in this presentation, I am going to see about this internal field in dielectrics. Internal field in dielectrics. What is the outcome of trying to study this our dielectrics is that we try to acquire knowledge concerning the electrical behavior of the atoms present inside the dielectric materials. We know dielectric materials, they are classified into two types, right? One is polar and another one is non-polar. Both are is non-polar and polar dielectrics have the energy storage capacity. They form dipoles, and through this formation of dipoles, they store electric charge. So, they both the non-polar and polar dielectrics have this electrical have the energy storage capacity. So today we are going to look at what is the factor responsible for this energy storage capacity, or it is also called as internal field in dielectrics. As soon as we complete the topic, we will be able to identify the mechanism behind this energy storage capacity. Now, we are going to define one quantity called as the internal field or local field. Internal field or local field. Let us say I am considering an atom or a molecule to be present inside a dielectric. So, we are having an atom or molecule to be present inside a dielectric. This is the atom we are having inside the dielectric at this position A. Now, when we are having this atom A experiences different kinds of electric fields due to the all surrounding charges. As it is illustrated in this figure, we are having E1, E2, E3 and E4. We are having the four electric fields. Let us see what are all these E1, E2, E3 and E4 electric fields are due to. Even this electric field is due to the charges that are present on the surface of the capacitor plate. If I want to find the dielectric electric field experienced by this atom that is present at A, what I am going to do is I am taking this dielectric slab and I will place it in between the two capacitor plates. I will place it between the two capacitor plates. Once I am placing it between the capacitor plates, what happens is, and I am connecting it to external electric field. Because of the presence of this electric field, we will have the accumulation of positive charges on one surface of the capacitor plate and negative charges on the other surface. Because of this accumulation or separation of charges, we are having here the electric field which we are calling it as E1. Now, because of this separation of charges, these charges they influence that atoms that are present inside the dielectric, and these dielectrics again they tend to separate the charges. The atoms tend to separate the charges, and on the plus of this, on the plus side, we will be having accumulation of negative charges, whereas on the minus side, we are having accumulation of positive charges. Accumulation of these positive charges. Now, surrounding this atom A, I am considering one spherical cavity. On the surface of the spherical cavity, we are having again accumulation of positive charges on this side, and on the opposite half of the sphere, we are having accumulation of the negative charges. Let us call the electric field due to the atoms that are present on the surface of the cavity to be E4, whereas the atoms that are present inside the cavity to be E3. So how many types of electric fields we are having now? E1, E2, E3, E4. E1, E2, E3, E4. And in the place of this E1 and E2, we are using a letter E, which is nothing but our applied field, our applied macroscopic field, which is acting on all the atoms. So this is the overall picture that we can see once we are placing a dielectric between the capacitor plates. And we are saying now the atom that is present in this at this point A, it is experiencing all these electric fields, right? That electric field experienced by the atom at A is called as internal field or local field. That it is called as internal field or local field. So that is what we wrote here. The atoms or molecules experience the electric field produced by the dipoles in addition to the external applied electric field. And this resultant electric field, it is called as an internal field or local field. Now here we are considering the special case of we are considering the special case of this spherical cavity, and as I have already discussed all the electric fields that are present here. The next, so we are having this cavity, right, a spherical cavity. We are assuming the radius of the spherical cavity to be r, and as I have given you already, consider a dipole at this center of the cavity, and this dipole experiences all these four electric fields, which we have already looked into. What are all those four electric fields we have looked into? E1, E2, E3, E4. E1 is due to charges on the surface of the capacitor plates. E2 is due to the charges on the surface of the dielectric sample near the surface, and E3 is due to the dipoles inside the sphere. Dipoles inside the sphere. Whereas E4 is due to polarization of charges on the surface of the spherical cavity. And the cavity which we are considering is also called as Lorentz cavity, and the electric field that is experienced, it is called as a Lorentz cavity field. And this method which we are dealing is also called as a Lorentz method. Is also called as a Lorentz method. Now, once we are, if I want to consider this electric field that are present at these points that are present at the point A, we are going to consider a small strip on the surface of this spherical cavity. I am going to consider a small strip on the surface of this spherical cavity, which we have already represented here, but I am going to draw it just for your illustration. See, this is one surface of the strip. This is inner okay, let us forget about bothering about coincidence with the figure. I'll just represent it here so that you will have an idea. So the strip, it is a strip of this fashion, which is having a circular ring, which is in the form of a circular ring, right? Now, I am going to see what are the charges present on this surface of this circular ring. Now, once I know the charges present on this circular ring, we can find the electric field. We know the formula for the electric field is nothing but Q by 4 pi epsilon naught into R square. R is nothing but the distance from which we want to find the electric field to the surface of this sphere. Now we want to find the electric field experienced by all these charges present on this surface at A, and we are calling this distance as R. This is the spherical ring we are having. This is the ring we are having. For this ring, what we are doing is we are drawing some lines from the center of the sphere we are having. This is how we have represented it, right? Now, if I am considering here again, we can have here two parts. One is this part and one is the other part. That is what we have represented here. I am considering a small strip at this point and another strip to be present at this point. We are having charges to be present on this entire region. We will find the electric field due to this charges present on this strip at the point A. So if I want to find the electric field at A, first what I have to find? I have to find the charges present on this. Why are we having these charges to be present on this? Because of polarization. Why are we having these charges accumulated here all on all these points like this minus plus all these charges? Because of polarization. And when we are considering this polarization and accumulation and we want to find the charge due to the polarization, we have to consider this normal component of the polarization. We have to consider the normal component of the polarization. And once we are considering this normal component of the polarization, and we are going to multiply it with this surface area of this particular ring we are considering, we will get the charge. What we have to do here? We have to first consider a spherical ring on the surface of the spherical cavity. If we find the charge that is present on this spherical ring, then we can find the electric field. The charges on this spherical ring is due to the polarization. This normal component of the polarization, it will give us the surface charge. Normal component of the polarization will give us the surface charge. That normal component, I will multiply it with the area of this strip. Then it will give me the charge. That is what we are going to represent in our next diagram. You see, here this I have represented very simply here the ring, and then we are having our component of the polarization, normal component, and the area we are representing, area where we are representing it as ds. And these ds, how do we get it is, what we are going to do is here, first we will find the area of this circular ring, and then what we are going to do is, we are going to multiply it with this thickness. We are going to multiply it with this thickness. This is the circular ring we are having, and I am going to multiply it with this thickness. That thickness, how do we get it? Is nothing but, this is an arc subtended at this point. This is an arc subtended at the center C. So we know we are having one formula, right? Angle subtended at the center, angle subtended at the center, it is equal to arc by radius. We know angle, our radius here is r. So what we have here is arc. RD, the arc is equal to radius into d theta. R into d theta. This gives me the thickness. Then I have to find the circumference of this circle. If I want to find the circumference of the circle, we know the formula is 2 pi into r. Here r is nothing but this distance y. How do we get this distance is, we know this triangle is a right angle triangle, and we will define sine theta. Sine theta is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse, y by r. So we want y, so this y will become r sine theta. And I am going to substitute these in the area. Then we will know we are having the circumference to be equal to 2 pi. In the place of y, I will use r sine theta. So this is 2 pi r sine theta, and we have to multiply it with r d theta, which comes out to be 2 pi r square sine theta d theta. Let me repeat this. I am having a circular ring, and I want to find the surface area of this circular ring. In order to find this area of the ring, what we have to do is, we have to multiply the circumference of this inner circle with the thickness. This is the thickness, and this is the inner circular ring. I am trying to represent it roughly. Okay, this is the inner circular ring. So we are going to multiply these two. If I am multiplying them, what we are having is the circumference we know, which is given by 2 pi into radius, and the thickness is given by r into d theta. So angle, how do we get this thickness is by using this formula. Angle is equal to arc by radius. Since this is the arc, I am highlighting this. This is the arc. That arc, how do we get this arc? By multiplying radius and angle. Angle here is d theta, and the radius here is r. R d theta will give us this thickness. Now, how do we find this radius y? Use from this triangle, we know this is right angle triangle. I have defined sine theta. Sine theta is nothing but opposite side by hypotenuse. We want opposite side, so this is nothing but r sine theta. I have represented the area of the ring with the quantity ds, which is equal to 2 pi r square sine theta d theta. Now, if I am multiplying this with the charge that is present on that spherical cavity, then we will get our, if I am this surface charge with area, I will get the charge that is present on this surface element we are considering. The normal component of the polarization I have already shown, it is represented as p cos theta, and the area which is ds, which we have already represented. Now let us go to the Next one. So what do we want to find? We want to find our electric field. So in order to find the electric field, what we are going to do is, at this point A, I am placing one test charge Q. Test charge Q. Now what are all the two charges we are having means, what are all the two charges we are having here? Now let us see. I am placing a test charge at this point A, and then what we are going to do is, I am placing a test charge here, and we are having the charges to be present on this strip, which we have already calculated, right? So since we are having Q1, this is a Q1, this is a Q2, we can apply the formula, Coulomb's law of force. Using this formula, what we can do is, we can write the expression. The expression for the force is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught product of the charges divided by distance. Divided by distance. This Q2 we have called it as Q. So in the place of Q2, I wrote this Q. And Q1 we have already found out, which is nothing but P cos theta ds. P cos theta into ds. So for simplicity, I have not substituted ds here. In the coming steps, we will substitute this ds. Now, since we are interested in finding the electric field is nothing but force acting on unit charge. So we have to divide this force by Q. Once we are dividing this force by Q, automatically we will get our electric field. Automatically we get our electric field. That is what I am going to do now. So what it is, we need our electric field. So what is the formula I have used here? E4, it is given by df by q. Df already we have written the expression 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught p cos theta ds by r square. Now if I am looking at this E4, we have already seen that the polarization is acting in this direction. Since this we are considering the case of the normal dielectrics, this electric field is also in this direction. We can resolve this electric field into normal component and tangential component. Okay, one is along the x direction, another one is along the y direction. Now if I am looking at these components that are along the y direction, we can clearly see that they are opposite in direction, right? So they will cancel off. That is what we have written here. The perpendicular components cancel only, and we will be left with only the horizontal components. Horizontal component, if I want to resolve this horizontal component, what I have to do is, now I have to find the component of this E. I have to find the component of this E along this direction. How do we get this? This component, this is present along the theta. So it will be E cos theta. What it is again? I want to find the component of the electric field due to the charge acting on this charge that is present at the center A. This electric field we have represented here. This is the direction, but I want it in the direction of the applied field. So we can resolve it into x and y components. We are having, initially I have told you that we are going to consider the strip on the top and the bottom. If I am considering the electric field due to this strip on the top and the bottom, we are looking at the figure, this EY, it are in opposite directions, whereas EX they are adding together. EY will cancel. EY is nothing but our perpendicular component, whereas only the component Ex will remain. Ex will remain. So considering all these factors, now if I want to write E4, what I have to write is the component Ex, right? If I want to write the component Ex, what do we have here? Ex ante manaki what do we have here is, it is making an angle, it is in the direction of this angle theta. So it will be E cos theta. It will be E cos theta. E cos theta. So if I am considering this, as I have told you just now, this will be nothing but our E cos theta. And why is it that here I am using DE4? Because as I have said you directly in the beginning of the lecture, we are going to consider only a small strip. We are not considering the entire strip. We have to find the electric field due to the entire surface, spherical surface, right? But we are considering only a small ring. So we are representing it as a DE4. Now if I want to find the electric field due to all the charges that are present on the surface of the spherical cavity, what I will do is, I have to integrate it. I have to integrate it. Okay. Already we have written the expression here, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught p cos theta ds by r square. We have already written the expression for ds. So we are going to substitute all those expressions. P cos theta ds by r square is already existing, but since we are considering the component in the direction of the applied field, we are having here another factor which is nothing but cos theta. Which is nothing but cos theta. Okay. And now since this is a spherical cavity here, and we have to consider only due to the separation of charges, so we will consider here the limits to be 0 to pi. I have brought this p by 2 pi epsilon naught to be out of the integral. What we have done is, we have substituted all the values of ds and everything, and we have simplified it, and finally we have got this expression cos square theta sin theta d theta inside the integral. And whereas the other components, since they are not depending on this factor theta, we are writing them out of the integral. Now in order to solve this integral, what I have done is, I have made some substitutions. I have placed in the place of cos theta, I have substituted z, and then the limits will change from 0 to pi, 0 to pi to 1 to minus 1. This is what we wrote here. And we have substituted in the place of cos theta z. Since it is theta cos square theta, I have written z square. And in the place of minus sin theta dz, what we have written is minus dz. Minus dz. Now we know integral z square is nothing but z cube by 3. And what are the upper limit and the lower limit? The upper limit is minus 1 and the lower limit is plus 1. Lower limit is plus 1. We have considered all the substitutions. We have simplified it, and finally the simplified version is this: p by 2 pi 2 epsilon naught cos square theta sin theta d theta. In the place of cos square theta, I have substituted z. Now if I want to integrate, I want to differentiate it on both sides, then I will get sin theta minus sin theta d theta as dz. And we are having here the limits to be 0 to pi. On substitution in this cos theta, we get the limits to be minus plus 1 to minus 1. Minus 1 is the upper limit and plus 1 is the lower limit. I have made these substitutions here. Plus 1 is the lower limit, minus 1 is the upper limit, and we have to integrate this z square. We know integral of z square is nothing but z cube by 3, and the upper limit here is minus 1, lower limit is plus 1. We can substitute it, and finally on substitution and simplification, we will be left with this expression p by 3 epsilon naught. P by 3 epsilon naught. Okay. This E4, whatever we got in this E4, we are going to substitute in our E internal all the local field, which is nothing but its summation of E1, E2, E3 and E4. And in the very beginning of the lecture, I have told you that we will assume this E3. This is just a simple case we are considering. So, in the place of E3, we are going to substitute 0. We are going to substitute 0. If I am making all these substitutions, I will be left with E1 plus E2 plus E4. E4 we have obtained here. E4 we have obtained here, and already in the beginning of the lecture I told that in the place of this E1 and E2, E1, E2, we can write E. We can write E. So let me make all these modifications. So this internal field experienced by the atom E internal is equal to E plus P by 3 epsilon naught. It is in addition to the applied field, we are having this component due to the polarization. So it is larger than, we have written here, it is larger than the macroscopic field. So since it is larger than the macroscopic field we are applying, the atoms are more effectively polarized. And this contributes to the energy storage mechanism in the dielectrics. Let me summarize whatever we have seen in this class. We are taking a dielectric, we are having one dielectric, and I want to find the electric field experienced by the atom that is present at this point A. For that, we have considered all the electric fields E1, E2, E3 and E4. We have assumed this E3 as 0, and in the place of E1 and E2, we have written the macroscopic applied field E, and we are left with the task of finding the electric field E4 due to all the charges that are present on the surface of this cavity. And the method which we have used, we are calling this as a Lorentz method. And for that, what we have done is we have considered a small strip on this surface, and we have found the charge accumulated on this small strip due to polarization. And once we have found this charge on this small strip and found the electric field due to this small strip, charges on this small strip, what we have done is we have written the expression for the force, and from the force we have written the expression for the electric field. Once we found that electric field, we have integrated it for the entire spherical cavity. And finally, making all these simplifications, we got this expression as P by 3 epsilon naught. We have taken the algebraic sum of all these electric fields. We have taken the summation, algebraic sum of all these electric fields, and finally we have seen that the electric field experienced by the atom that is present inside the dielectric. It is larger than the macroscopic field, and that is the reason why the molecules are more effectively polarized. And in the duration that we are having so far, I have tried my level best to give an idea about the energy storage capacity inside the dielectrics. Okay, and again, I take this opportunity to thank the Tutors Pride for providing with this experience of interacting with the viewers online through the topics of physics. Thank you.